Hi, my name's Jenni Cargill-Strong and I love telling stories, and I'm so glad to be here to share some stories with you. And this is a story about my storytelling shoes. They're different, aren't they? Well, this is their story that they told me. Now, nowadays, I live in Ballina, but when I first moved up to this area from Sydney, I lived in Byron Bay, and I didn't have children at that time yet, and so I used to go for long walks along the beach, and I'd find all sorts of different things washed up on the sand. Of course, sometimes there'd be blue bottles or jellyfish. If there was rubbish, which wasn't very often, I'd pick it up and put it in the bin. Sometimes an old thong, occasionally an old boot. And one particular day, I found these shoes washed up on the sand. Well, they didn't look very special at first because they were buried this way up. But when I picked them up and dusted them off, I saw how unusual they were. And I thought, wow, whoever owns them must really want them back. So I sat on the beach holding them up, feeling a bit silly, but thinking someone might come running up to me saying, "Excuse me, they're my shoes, thanks very much." But no one did. Well, I was getting a bit sunburned, so I took them home. I took a photo and I made an ad, and I put up signs in the local cafes and the libraries, and I put ads on Facebook, but no one ever came to claim them. And eventually I realized they just must be meant to be mine, especially when I tried them on. You probably won't be able to see my feet, but they fitted me perfectly. Well, I took them to a shoemaker I know, and she explained that this leather in the middle here is very unusual leather. It actually comes from a fish, and that's why it looks so much like fish scales, because it is actually from a barramundi, a fish that grows so big that you can very carefully make a kind of leather with it. And I noticed how it's got waves cut in the side, and these buckles look a little bit like the wheel of a ship where the captain steers the boat. And there's water pearls. Well, I put them on my bedside table, and that night they told me their story. They told me that they had once belonged to a mermaid, and that this mermaid had a very powerful and beautiful tail, and that she loved swimming with her friends, the dolphins and the whales and the turtles, and she liked going deep down, diving deep down and shooting right up into the air and jumping high. But one particular night, a full moon night, she happened to be swimming around Byron Bay when she heard a really funky rhythm coming from the beach. And so she swam a bit closer. And as she got closer, she saw that there were people around a big bonfire. There were drummers playing the rhythms, and there were dancers wearing bright-coloured clothes, leaping about, laughing around the fire. And as the mermaid watched those humans dancing, she wished that she could dance like that. And she began to wish that she had legs and feet like that. She watched them until they went home, and then she dreamt of them all night long. And in the morning, she went to the king and the queen of the sea, and she said, "Could I please swap my mermaid's tail for 2 human legs with feet?" The king and the queen of the sea were very shocked to think of someone swapping their beautiful tail for strange human legs. They said, "Are you sure?" She said, "I want to be a dancer. Please, can I?" Well, they agreed that she could, and some special shoes were made with a special magic in them, so that under the full moon she could change her tail into 2 human legs. And when the shoes were ready, the moon was full again, and she swam out towards the beach, because she was doing that in the dark so that the humans wouldn't be able to see her. But being a full moon in Byron Bay, what do you think was happening on the beach? Yes, it was another full moon party. Well, she had to wait until all the humans went home again, and when at last there was no one on the beach, because mermaids can't let us see them, you know, she rode away right up onto the sand, and there, under the full moon, holding these shoes, she said, "And you can join in. How I wish, how I wish, how I wish I had 2 legs. How I wish, how I wish, how I wish I had 2 legs. How I wish, how I wish, how I wish I had 2 legs. And Her mermaid's tail turned into 2 human legs with feet, and her feet fitted her new shoes perfectly. Well, the mermaid had made herself a dress out of barramundi leather because she knew that humans have a funny giggle attack when they see someone naked, and she had some pearls to use for money. And soon she got dancing lessons, and because she was so fit and she had such a live, powerful body, she was soon dancing so well that after many years' hard work, she joined a dance troupe, a dance company that danced all around the world. And she loved the sound of the roar of applause in her ears. Hooray! But one day, her dance group were performing in Byron Bay in the Byron Theatre. And guess what phase the moon was in? It just happened to be the full moon. So after the concert, when everyone had gone, hooray! And they'd taken their bows, she went for a walk down to the beach. Now, to be honest, the mermaid had had such a lovely time as a dancer that she'd almost forgotten that she was ever a mermaid. She'd almost forgotten all her friends in the ocean. But as she walked along the beach, there was a full moon hanging in the sky, and it was a big swollen golden moon, and the sea was so smooth it was like a sheet of glass, and the sea was like a mirror. So she looked out and she thought, I remember now having that powerful tail. I remember diving deep into the ocean and leaping up into the air. I remember all my friends, the sharks, the dolphins, the whales, the turtles, and the merman and the merman and my family and the king and the queen. And just like that, she decided to go back. She dove into the water, she kicked off her shoes, and she swam home. And when they saw her coming, they hugged her and kissed her. They were so excited. They had a big party. But strangely, or funnily enough, she discovered that you can dance with a mermaid's tail. In fact, she created some new funky dance moves that all the mermaids and the mermen that wanted to could join in with, and they created their own dance group. And they could also jump out of the water and dive really deep for special tricks. They even made special drums out of shells and using barramundi leather skins. Well, she lived happily ever after. But these shoes, well, after she kicked them off, they sank down and down to the floor of the ocean, and then they were picked up by the tide and washed on the beach where I found them. And that is the story of my storytelling shoes. Believe it or not.